You're live, dude.
I am live, all right.
Finally.
We've, this has been a real mother trying to figure this out, I'll tell you what.
Facebook's the worst.
Oh my gosh, I'll tell you what. It's, appreciate everybody hanging in with us. My name is Kyle Cheslock. I'm the VP of Sales over at the Lead Tool. We've tried this several times. This is Chase Shields, the CEO and founder. Hopefully this time is the charm. But stay tuned. This is a series of podcasts we're going to be doing weekly. So definitely invite your friends, invite colleagues. Should be entertaining to say the least. We're going to be covering a variety of topics. So if you have anything that you guys want to discuss, whether it be pertaining to the industry itself, technology in general, we're going to be talking a lot about that. Modern softwares, things of that nature that are available to you guys that you may not know about to help you run a more efficient business. As well as an overall range of topics. Like today, we're going to be discussing the state of retail, and particularly 2017. Everybody's seen it. If you haven't, you're probably living under a rock. Retail is being disrupted at all different levels: large, small, medium-sized businesses across many different facets of retail. Whether that's your Macy's out there, your Radio Shacks. Even the flooring industry over the last 10 years has seen a sizable change in the dealer network. So
Them, lumber, everybody.
everybody, it's affecting everybody, and the main disruptor of that's kind of causing everything is everybody points their finger towards Amazon, and it largely comes back to the way they've changed the game when it comes to customers buying from the retailer itself. At the end of the day, it's really become an area where it's all about making it easier for you, for the customer to buy from you.
Yeah, and I think we definitely need to dive into that. But first, I think it'd be super helpful to give some background. So I can start off with that.
Any background?
Yeah. Oh God,
who are these guys?
Why do these guys even know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
So I started the company that owns the Lead Tool for Me group with two of my partners, probably 4 or 5 years ago. We got going with our first products. Before that was in lumber manufacturing, distribution, dry kilns. We had custom millwork facility, whole 9 yards, 130-year-old family business. So when I hear people say that we've been doing it this way for 40 years, why change? I know that that's wrong because I lived it. And I know what it takes to become sustainable. It's super common, and it's like, I watch, I was fortunate I got to work for my dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
He started as the janitor, and which was what I cleaned toilets, drove trucks. So,
a little bit of everything, right? Growing up a family business?
Yeah. Well, it only goes one of two ways.
Yeah,
You got the silver spoon, or you got the shit detail.
Right?
So, which, by the way, there may be a little loose language. These are not intended to be a sales call here. Just
no, it's a very casual setting.
Yeah.
So chat in, say what's on your mind. We're all ears. So like I said, this is going to be a pretty informal gathering where hopefully everybody can have a couple takeaways.
So anyway, got out of that, got into the car business, sold cars, still recovering from that, but was one of the top producers. My partner and I actually, in the middle of a recession, we had two roles were created for us to sell for a group here in Cincinnati, a wonderful outfit, Beachmont Auto Group, probably the best online sales game, best e-commerce that I've ever seen. Of course,
the automotive industry's been crushing it for years.
They destroy it.
Online leads.
Well, and the funny thing was, our entire sales staff was like, "Oh, online leads are garbage," and the owner was spending a lot of money and had an incredible e-commerce and online experience and setup.
That's not unique to automotive, though. Just about any industry that's had any kind of online leads.
We hear all these things are bad. No, it's called you got to work. Salespeople are naturally averse to working. I've found.
Correct. Right.
They're just like, oh, you mean I gotta call it? You're gonna.
They see the potential of money that they can make, but
the funny thing about making money
is
it requires you to work.
Yeah.
It's this whole thing.
It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, I don't, that's why every time someone's like, well, I don't, the leads are garbage. No, you don't want to work. That's what the issue is. Well, I can't get my staff to do this. No, you don't want to lead. There's no in between. These are all really simple problems. Anyway, my partner and I accounted for like 35% maybe of the monthly unit volume in the middle of a recession, working garbage leads. We weren't allowed to take walk-ins. Like, we only had these online, like, email, phone-in leads. And all of a sudden we took these junk leads, and within 60 days we were crushing it. And there was a sales staff of like 12 or 15. There's 2 of us doing that much of the volume.
What do you think was the biggest difference in why you guys, besides your work ethic, obviously, but what, obviously these online leads are coming in.
Dude, we worked the process. Our boss, Greg Ackerman, who's incredible. Greg had a process that we had to like live and die by, and we had to follow that, and we had to work a CRM system that he built, which was, I mean, this is back in the day, like,
10 years
ago. He built this system in 1999 was when he started. So
wow.
That's when, like, yeah, the owner of Beachmont had like that much vision that he knew they needed to build something. Like, that was Salesforce was founded in 99.
Yeah, for those of you that aren't familiar with the term CRM, it's customer relationship management, and I always equate it back to, back in the day, you used to have your customers in a Rolodex on your table that you would flip through and obviously try to work and sell to. For those of you out there, probably Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, the good leads. ABC always be closing. This is a modern take on that delivers value in a variety of ways across all departments, but it's really became prevalent in the late 90s, early 2000s with Salesforce.
Yeah, it's new to the industries we're working in. I mean, some of them are just getting onto this like lead management thing, right? Which is a small part of CRM.
Very small.
But CRM itself is like, it's everything now. It's the most important piece of software you have in your business, because as we shift, and we'll talk about this more, as we shift from like so many businesses, retailers are vendor focused. What are my vendors going to do for me to do for my customers? So it's like, what are they going to give me so I can then go do things for my customers? No, you've got to think customer first.
Yeah.
So like your all your other back office crap doesn't matter if you're not taking care of your customers. So that was really what like mattered. Nothing mattered to us as an organization other than like taking care of the customer. It was CustomerCentric. So from this, and that was a top-down thing. Like the leadership bought in and pushed it down, and they had the foresight to do. I mean, dude, we had some incredible competition here in the city for some of the brands we carried, and we crushed them online. We crushed them because of the process, the system, everything. I mean, you're selling homogeneous goods, like you mentioned, flooring, prefab kitchen cabinets. Those are commodities. Like engineered flooring, LVT, all that commodity. Prefab cabinets, commodity. Guess what? You can go buy it anywhere. So
well, now too. I mean, you got different threats to the industry, if you will, that's perceived, via your Home Depot, your Lowe's.
Well,
not Wayfair.
Master brand cabinets at Wayfair is the same as master brand cabinets at Home Depot is the same as master brand cabinets at Joe's Kitchen and Bath Shop. Like, it's the same. So, like, it doesn't matter. So it's the service. That's why it's about the customer. Like, it's not about the vendors. So that was why we were able to really crush it.
Is it about the service or about the experience you guys created?
Well, it's the experience. And the service, is kind of like, service is such a dated term because everyone thinks they have good service.
Right. I mean, how often do we, and this is across the board and just about in the industry, if you go to a website, it doesn't matter where you're at in the country, you could throw a rock, throw a dart, pick something, doesn't matter, do a quick search. Flooring dealers in San Antonio, Texas, or lumber yards in Minster, Ohio. Whatever it is, you click on a couple of them, every single one of them is going to tout that what makes them different.
Yeah, then you read their Yelp reviews.
Customer service, right? And we're not spending enough time in areas like online reviews, Yelp, House, Google reviews.
But it's because they're not, you got all these people who are worried about like their inventory system, or like, oh, I'm so busy. Like, you're too busy to focus on your customers. You're too busy to like have a nice showroom. You're too busy to make it easy to buy. Like, what you are is going out of business. That's what you are.
Who was it that we talked to that had a great way of describing it? It was can't remember his name, but he mentioned that it's like these, you're spending too much time in your business not own your business. You're running around with your hair on fire,
Yeah.
just seeing what's right in front of you, which is the easiest thing to do, right? Somebody walks into your store and say, hey, I want to go buy that countertop today. Awesome. Of course you're going to service them and sell them the countertop. Well, 80% of these customers aren't doing that.
Well, and no one realizes that because they don't bother to pay any attention to any. Like, the only people who realize that the bulk of buyers aren't buying like on the spot are the people who are actually bothering to do this work. And there's like there's like not many people. There are not many people who want to like work when it comes to sales.
And by work we mean just you have a set process and you repeat it.
No, yeah, sales. So sales, first of all, like selling is a verb. To sell something is like it's an active verb. So we always differentiate between being a salesperson and being an order taker. If someone's coming to you and saying, I want to buy this product, you're not really selling them.
Like, which is very much how retail has traditionally been.
Right, because they just sit there and wait.
And wait for people
like they do know, like, and even, you know, you could argue an online inquiry is like, it's still an inbound, but like you have to actively like sell, you have to work.
Well, the doors change.
Because when you're submitting, like take the car business, when you're submitting information for a lead, 9 times out of 10 it's going to more than one dealer. So like how fast you respond, I can't tell you how many deals like we won because Greg would be like, you have to respond to these new leads within 15 minutes. And we would get to them and it would take the other dealer, again, selling a commodity, same brand, same cars, take them a day.
So and all like you had to do was just get to them.
Yeah, and I didn't have a freaking street address. I didn't have all that nonsense. We were selling off of an email and like a name. Yeah. Like we'd get a phone number 50% of the time. Like, so to say that like people don't want to be contacted or whatever, actually, like if they're trying to buy your product and you're not bothering to pay attention to them, like you're making it really hard.
You're psychologically projecting your own insecurities about asking for information when it comes to that. Today's consumer wants to be served,
it's not even about that. It's that's a totally different part of the discussion when you talk about handling walk-in traffic. But like even when people submit information online, like salespeople will be like, oh well, I called them once, and they'll be like, I called them 2 days later. Like, well, no crap. Like by then they've already been to all your competitors. They've been to wherever else they're going to shop because you're selling. If you're selling a commodity, the experience matters. How quickly you respond, how you respond, how you get people, like, can they find what they need on your website? It's the whole, like, that transition for retail, brick and mortar retail, from the web to the store just sucks. And it sucks, like, on all fronts in general.
Well, the attention span's what, 8 seconds for a consumer now?
Yeah, but I mean,
so they fill this information out and then they go back to work.
Well,
they go back to something else that catches their eye.
Yeah, and so you brought up the other day we were talking about Home Depot, and they've been really successful combating Amazon because they have a
they were getting crushed by them in 2010.
Order online and pick up in the store, and we know from Google's research that customers want to see what available inventory you have. For retailers, if anyone's like in retail listings, probably isn't going to apply to like distribution yards and stuff. But for retail operations with retail storefronts, if you list your inventory, what's in stock, like at least what you carry, not necessarily we have this many feet of X item or whatever. Yeah. They're 70% more likely to show up at your store or call you.
That's a quick
win. That's such like it's so
that's like
it's so rudimentary, yeah, and to make it like really simple. So you think about like Apple has a really good transition because you can go pick up in the store, and so like not only is it really hard to get information about what someone carries and what they may have in stock, lead times, all that online, when you get to the store. Like, think about how Apple stores are designed and how, like, and Apple's just the best example, but then think about, like, some of, like, your regular, like, retail store. Like, think about some of the showrooms we've been in.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, you got crap, like, laying all over the place. You got, like,
it's convoluted.
It looks disorganized. You got 85,000 things. It's like back to the car business. We knew what people were interested in. Like, a great example is cabinets or flooring, where you can have, like, a door sample or a flooring, like a plank. The equivalent in those businesses would be when a customer does come in, if they're coming in online, you have like the plank or the door ready for them to look at. Like, dude, we used to have, when we scheduled an appointment, we would have cars pulled up out front. We would have things like ready to go. We'd be ready to take a copy of the driver's license for the test drive form. Like, everything would be set up for the customer so that they spent the minimal amount of time that they needed to, because again, they're expressing interest in, like, make it easy for them to buy.
Well, you brought up a couple good points here that got me really thinking about the real estate industry. Everybody knows about this. One of the biggest industries there is. And
talk about your background,
change, right?
You work for a company that got bought by Zillow.
Yeah. So my background came from real estate. I started out as a realtor in Florida in the downturn.
Awesome.
I didn't know it at the time.
Awesome.
I didn't have the foresight like the guy from what's the movie?
The Big Short.
The Big Short. I didn't have that kind of foresight, unfortunately. But I got into it. Times are booming. You were throwing up houses left and right, cookie cutter houses, that is, and these things were moving like hotcakes. Everybody was buying homes. So I was like, yeah. I always had a fascination with real estate, and I decided to get into it. Well, shortly after I got into it, the bottom fell out, and at the time, realtors were leaving the industry left and right. Mortgage brokers gone overnight, and I thought to myself at the time, if I could sell in this environment, I could sell anything.
Yeah.
So. At the time, and then I came to work for a real estate transaction company called Dotloop, which we had some success there and ended up getting acquired by Zillow in 2015 for a little over $100 million. So I like to think we did a couple things right, but
no, that's
yeah, it definitely wasn't.
You don't have a clue what you're doing.
I don't. I have no idea, but pure luck.
Yeah, shout out to Dotloop, by the way. Great Cincinnati company.
Great Cincinnati company. If you're out there buying a company,
hell of a company you built.
Absolutely. Went out on a limb, saw a need, filled it, and it's changed a lot of lives. Honestly, from real estate agents to brokers to the everyday consumer buying a house. You're now able to buy a home from your phone. Isn't that wild? Absolutely. It's the largest purchase in a lot of people's lives. Yeah. But coming back to my point is, the role of the real estate agent changed over the last 10 years, 15 years. Before, your role was information was in your hands, right? I was the only one that had access to the MLS to see homes and information about the home, the price of the home, what it sold for previously. All of that information used to be in a book, and then it got digitized online in these MLS programs and things of that nature. But with the advent of Zillow, it put the information back into people's hands. So the role of the real estate agent changed, and it sped up. Fortunately, with the the downturn, they were forced to find other outlets to relay their value to the consumer, which they did, and the industry's doing fine right now. But
they adopted the tech in the downturn.
And they did. They were forced to utilize technology to create a better experience for their consumer, and the companies that embrace that are thriving, they're growing, they're adding real estate agents. Shoot, Keller Williams went from the 5th largest real estate brand to the number 1.
Just by improving the experience.
Improving the experience, equipping and utilizing technologies and giving it to their agents to create this experience for the consumer. I mean, it sounds like rocket science. It sounds easy and all this stuff to do, but at the time, it was really revolutionary.
Yes.
Now, we're in a similar time within the various verticals that we operate in, LBM, flooring, things of that nature. But back to my point about your role being changed, furniture, your role changes. And now, whereas before people, all the information relied with you and having your products not listed online and in the store, and it forced people to come in here, which made location for your operation more important.
Yeah, and now if they don't know what you have, they don't show up.
They're conditioned now
they're
via
out.
Amazon, via Zillow, companies like that have provided information and given them back to them and empowered them to do their research ahead of time. They're now going to be clamoring for that and are clamoring for that within these industries, like furniture, like flooring, like lumber.
They just want it to be easy to buy. Like
That's it. They're still coming in to see you. I think with Google, 82% of consumers still want to come into the store to buy, even though 80% of them are doing their research online ahead of time. So your role has changed a little bit, and change is always difficult. So I can definitely empathize with that. But at the end of the day, the consumer doesn't care.
It's as hard as you make it. The change.
Yeah, honestly, it's a few minutes typically.
Like,
but at the end of the day, the consumer doesn't care.
no,
The consumer's going to go where the experience is.
They're like water. They're going to find the path of least resistance to the easiest purchase.
Yeah.
So like every person I've talked to recently who's made a purchase like backsplash for kitchen, flooring, they've had to call the salesperson to follow up with the salesperson.
It's crazy.
Backwards that is. That's why like
absurd.
you're talking about like flooring retailers, a chunk of them went out in the recession. There's been
what was it like?
and look,
like 5, 6, 7,000,
something like that. And then you've got all these retailers that are closing. It's like, gee, wonder why. Like
these are the same retailers back in 2000 that scoffed at Amazon.
yeah,
Nobody's going to use their bank account online.
50,
Nobody's going to buy online.
53 cents of every dollar that is spent in online sales is spent on Amazon. 53 cents of every online sales dollar goes to Amazon.
It took Amazon less than 2 decades. Less than 2 decades.
Yeah.
Amazon was founded, like 98?
Mm-hmm.
It took less than 2 decades to form new habits for consumers, create an experience that they desired, and it took Sears, which was a $26 billion company.
And it's like
It's $1 billion, and it's probably going to close the rest of their stores,
Yeah.
and they're hemorrhaging money
the
right
limited
now.
shutdown or
Limited.
not? Was it the limited,
Limited.
shutdown? Yeah,
Limited.
it wasn't
Closed shop.
limited. Yeah, I couldn't figure.
Radio
it out.
Shack, second filing in bankruptcy in the last 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, dude, there's like,
The list
we've
goes
got
on.
a list on our blog of all the retail
Macy's.
failures, and it's like everyone
Walmart's
talks
closing.
about
Walmart.
yeah.
Walmart,
Well,
one of
like,
the largest companies in the world.
Buffett sold all his Walmart stock,
Yeah.
or almost all of it.
Yeah, the Oracle of Omaha.
You've got, you just have like it's like, it does, I mean, it feels like sometimes we're in the Big Short because everything's fine until it's not.
Yeah.
And it's like now retail is just like brick and mortar, which there's a huge place for brick and mortar. It's just, most people are doing it wrong.
Look at
the
Best Buy. Best
It's
Buy was
not-
in the same position.
Best
Home
Buy,
Depot.
Best Buy have, like, it's
These
not
companies
that-
are in the same position as your JCPenney's, your Kmart,
Yeah,
your
and
Shein.
that's the whole thing. It's
Same
not that
position.
like brick and mortar is dead or it's going
No,
away or
it's-
doesn't
it's
have a
evolved.
place. Yeah, it's just that the bulk of people who are doing brick and mortar just suck at it. Plain and simple, like they do. That's why JCPenney is in the position they're in. That's why all these stores.
Well, you spend so much time looking right here, you don't look up and see what's down the road.
Well, I've been doing it this way. Like okay, like great, like that and 5 cents will buy you. 5% of a Starbucks coffee.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a cup of coffee, but 5 cents won't buy you
Yeah.
coffee.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I just think that the whole
I mean, Home Depot has taken 1% market share like clockwork year over year.
out of
Lumber, flooring industry. I mean, shoot,
yeah.
last quarter they grew their sales by 17% in flooring industry.
yeah, so and I mean
17%.
it's all like again, when you make that transition easy, and I think they were doing some stuff though, like giving away free installation, but
Sure.
still.
But it's how they packaged it,
It's
right?
it's all again. It's a commodity. It's all about the packaging
like
and the delivery.
Best Buy, so they it's not confirmed. A lot of industry insiders are tipping their hat towards Best Buy doing this, but just little things like language, changing the checkout from sign up in terms of creating an account to continue. That little change resulted in something like an additional $200 million in revenue.
Yeah, look, it's all about the approach, and really, I think the overarching theme for retail is that brick and mortar is nowhere near dead. It's just that like the people who don't evolve there's going to be continued consolidation.
Yeah.
I think everyone agrees that that's coming. No one can run from that.
I mean, Kohl's is hitting it head on. They're shrinking their stores. They're equipping all of their employees with an Apple-like experience. You go to an Apple store, you know people wonder why like people that have Apple products are like cult following. It's because they deliver an
It's because of the
experience.
experience. It's that like the experience is the brand, and like even if you think about like. So I buy Apple products from the Apple Store. I could buy them anywhere. I could buy them at Best Buy.
AT&T,
I
Best Buy.
go to Apple because of the experience, and I think the one of the most interesting things about that is if you just applied that same process to like we applied it to cars.
Yeah.
I want to buy an Audi R8. Okay, like you email in. We have a car out front. Now, granted, like you test drive it, and then you're like, okay, you advertise at this price. What can you do? And there's only so like when you're selling on the internet, there's not a lot of negotiation because you generally have to advertise the lowest price, which is what we did.
Sure.
It's like, hey, you either want the car, or you don't. There's nothing I can do.
It's what
Yeah, then it's like on your way. I mean, when we would sell cars, and I sold cars all over the country, and we even exported some of them.
Yeah.
It was a really simple process. I didn't even meet 70% of my customers. They'd call in or email in. They'd ask some questions about the car. They would, say, okay, here's the price I can do. Either yes or no. If yes, $500 credit card deposit right there on the phone, not a big deal. Yes, sir, ma'am, I'll overnight your paperwork to you. I'm going to include a FedEx overnight envelope for you to return it back. It's going to be filled in. I just need you to sign. It'll be marked, fill it in, overnight it back to us. As soon as it's back, I've got the truck scheduled. We have the paperwork, payment clears, vehicle's on a truck, it'll be at your door in 3 days.
So you guys weren't even utilizing like an e-signature tool or digital contract
at that time. I mean, dude, they're like really. I mean, who was around in like 08, 09?
DocuSign.
That would have been DocuSign. Yeah, and we,
and even that was still in its infancy. I mean,
right, and the back end systems for the auto business are super antiquated. They're like a lot of these like 1995 Microsoft SQL on-prem solutions that look like they're straight out of Windows.
Which is pretty common in flooring and lumber.
It's common everywhere, but it's like that's another like just from my perspective, like running a tech company, it's like, man, I see these vendors and they're hamstringing the shit out of their customers by not innovating. Like they just
technology innovates faster.
Yeah,
and
even
like,
sometimes we can't like what again. It's the same thing applies to everything. You just because it worked yesterday, because you were right yesterday, you might not be right today. And like on-prem workstations and crap, like come on, man. Like cloud computing was a thing in the 90s.
Right.
Like so.
Let me ask you this.
My point is though, what I was going to get to was yes, we were on paper. Yes, we had crap back-end systems, but we had a CRM. Like we had a CRM and we worked it. And we didn't care that it didn't, plug into all this legacy stuff that our vendors, huge vendors, much bigger than any of the industry players we run into, bigger than the Epicors of the world.
Yeah.
Think about the car business. We didn't care. It was all about that customer experience. If we had to hand fill out a FedEx overnight thing twice, big deal. We sold the car. Do you want to sell or do you want to not sell? That was what it really came down to.
Well, you bring up a good point about legacy systems and not innovating and things that.
And that's holding brick and mortar back too in a lot of ways, because then they're like, well, if it's not this specific thing, then I'm not going. Well, dude, come on, Square.
Well, most people just want to buy it and forget about it, right?
Right.
How often should you be taking a look at your technology stack?
Well, I mean, for modern software, you really don't have to because it's all on the cloud, so it gets updated anyway.
Which is like a subscription-based service.
So you're paying a monthly, or you pay
out of the box.
Pay for a year or 2 years up front. Yeah, it's not getting installed on your server
on in the back room.
Compare a workstation type checkout with all that written crap to Square. You're walking around, you swipe right on the showroom floor. You need to take a deposit, you need to do whatever. You need to send an invoice. So our system links up with Square. So you enter someone creates a Square customer. You want to send them an invoice? Cool. Go right in. Knock yourself out. Send it. So that duplicitous stuff is done. But if people aren't willing to say, well, if my on-prem vendor of 25 years doesn't get it together, which how many of them do we hear? Oh yeah, well so and so XYZ said they were going to put this. It's dude, 2 years later. It's and that's why we don't even care about that. But I do feel for the people who are on those systems because their vendors are holding, particularly the smaller outfits, the smaller shops.
You don't have the resources.
The 1 yard. Set up where you've got a sales staff of 3 or 5 people, maybe including an owner, or the retail storefront. That's
they don't have the resources to go ahead.
They drop tons of money on this dated ERP system that doesn't even work, and that's great. But the funny thing about sales software and POS software and stuff like that works is sales software CRM. You can spend a ton of money on it, and the ROI is stupid because I think you get a 770% return for every dollar you spend. It's actually helping you.
That was from last year.
Yeah, that's old data. So that's why
It's grown every year.
So as the shift moves like to the customer, focus moves to the customer, like you've got to focus on like customer facing systems and systems that help you create that experience, like the e-signature stuff.
Yeah.
CRM is the number one because that's what prevents, stupid missed follow-ups and not re-prospecting. So like that's the thing, like, so here's the difference: lead management, CRM. Like lead management's like, oh, I got this sales lead, I'm going to sell them, and then like you're done. CRM like helps you with that full life cycle. Like, man, you got to be reprospecting. The lowest hanging fruit for a business is a customer that you already have because you've already established that trust. That's where CRM helps you reprospect. It helps you get valuable information into your marketing automation, your email, your social. Like it pulls, and then it pulls everything in from all those sources. Like it just is.
So for those of you that are watching right now, your head's kind of spinning, like talking a lot about different things, POS and CRM and these accounting systems and modern software versus ERP and all this stuff that you may not be familiar with, which is fine. Chat in. We're happy to answer any of those questions. Give us a like on Facebook too. Follow our page. We post a lot of different things.
There's a lot of really good stuff on our blog and our webinars.
Blog,
that covers all the educational stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a lot of educational things just because a lot of this is just so new to the industry. But I always say one of the easiest places for you to kind of start if your head's spinning is think about your buying experience. Think about what happens to you when you go to places and buy. When you go to a McDonald's, if you go through there in the drive-thru, if you go to Verizon and buy a new phone, if you go to Apple, if you go to Walmart, these different buying experiences.
Well,
you're a consumer too.
Everyone who's listening or watching buys stuff from Amazon.
Absolutely. 2-day Prime. You can't beat it. I mean, shoot, I can get on my Prime now right now and have groceries delivered to me in an hour.
Yeah,
it's
nuts.
Come on.
Yeah.
And just take a step back. Think about what the experience is like at each particular establishment you go to, and how easy they make it for you to buy from.
Or how hard they make it.
Exactly.
Because there are more of them who make it hard than that. There are only a few I can think of that really do a tremendous job of making it easy. Like when I bought my truck, I literally found the truck I wanted. I called, or I emailed in. They called me, settled on the price, sent me the paperwork, bought it sight unseen. It was new. So again, commodity, new vehicle. It's a commodity.
Where'd you buy? You're in Ohio. Where'd you buy it?
North Carolina. Bought it down in North Carolina, outside of Greenville. They have free airport pickup. Flew into the airport. I didn't meet the salesperson until I was down there, and it came out, shook my hand, threw me the keys, and said, I had wired the money and everything, so it was kind of like a done deal. I mean,
cost you the keys, you're on your way.
Yeah, the whole transaction took under an hour.
Yeah.
Not included the travel time, and when you pull that out, the transaction was less than.
Now think about what a lot of people experience in a typical car dealership environment. It's definitely longer than an hour.
Oh well, yeah, you get this big volume. So I was fortunate because I didn't work for the volume brands. Nothing against them, they're great. I did work for Toyota and Honda, but not in a sales capacity because we had 10 brands at the time I was there. But I sold for the Highline group.
Yeah.
So we had 4, Porsche, Volvo, Audi, and Maserati.
Sure.
So our stuff was really we didn't have the send you to F&I, but you're dealing. You're dealing with a different type of buyer, and financing, I've really just seen it kind of creep into flooring, kitchen and bath, really.
Yeah, more and more people are starting to offer their own financing.
For homeowners, you've got synchrony
out there. Furniture.
And that's that's
ticket items.
That's a really big reason for that, and also the car business has so much bad stigma. So you've got people coming in wanting you to lose money, and then you do have crappy salespeople, but the process you have to go through Toyota where they pass you off to 5 different people. For us, it was just me. It was me or George, and they came to one of us, and we negotiated on it, and we put it together, and it was either it's a yes or a no.
Yeah.
There's no to quote George, him hawing around.
Right.
Well,
you think about brands like Lexus, right? You just go take your car in for an oil change, they give you another one to drive for the day.
Yeah, the group I work for will come pick your car up and leave you a loaner and take the
Enterprise is built to brand on it. Heck, that's their tagline.
Yeah,
We'll
it just
pick you up.
like again making it easy. You know, just making it easy because it's not about price with a lot of that.
No,
like price is always
especially today's consumer, the
price
millennial
is
generation in particular. They spend money on brands that they can get behind and believe.
Right, they'll spend. I mean, that's why they all have like iPhones and $100,000 of student loan debt.
Exactly.
but
they believe in that university,
and they believe in that Apple.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
They got it,
so,
regardless of the
right
debt,
or wrong. They believe and they spend their dollars with brands that they can stand behind.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that is huge. But I mean, back to your point. Yeah, buying a car, buying anything can be. It's as miserable or as hard as you make it, and like. From like a business perspective,
you can bring
like
it back
you
to
can,
change.
Yeah, you can make it hard for people to buy from you. I mean, or you can make it easy. Like, dude, I was really fortunate. I got to handle a couple of the accounts like on behalf of the owner, and I mean, like, you know, sometimes we'd even do stuff like, you know, we would get the paperwork done, and then we would go get the paperwork done on site or whatever overnight and bring it back. But then we would actually go like deliver the car and like do the delivery like. At the new owner's home,
full service,
like stuff like I mean, and it's stuff like that. You just got to make the sale easy. So I think like where Amazon is probably like more Home Depot DIY. Wayfair has their own. They've got like a concierge kind of like Restoration Hardware does, another great like e-commerce to showroom transition.
Wayfair's starting to have installers for people that buy their stuff.
Yeah, it's so I mean like. They're going to be much more of a threat, and
I think Wayfair's only scratching the surface.
So do I, because like I don't want to deal with if I have to call you to buy from you.
That's ridiculous.
I won't. I literally.
Or if you're telling me you're going to send me a quote, and you never do.
I will pay more to like have service.
Yeah.
Like I will always.
The
pay
40
more.
years that you've been there doesn't mean anything to me if you tell me that you're going to send me a quote and then I don't receive one.
You're only as good as your last battle or whatever. You're only as good as your last sale. Like it's that. Like,
absolutely.
So brand loyalty because of all the. So you're right about millennials and brands, but like that whole idea that I've been around for so long, this brand loyalty notion, it's like a lot of that's dead because of a lack of customer service, which means a lack of experience. And people will talk about customer service in a lot of different ways. I'm talking about sales customer service, not how good your estimation or installation or millwork crew is, like, because none of that matters if you can't get them through the first part of the sale. So I mean, I know this was kind of like bouncing around extemporaneous conversation, but I think at the end of the day, like brick and mortar,
well, it all ties into the experience.
Yeah, brick and mortar. It's great, and it's not going to go anywhere for the people who evolve and execute. Like, and you don't have to become Amazon to do that. You just gotta like keep your website up to date. Like, have Google. There's so many different things you can plug your product catalog right into Google. Like for anyone advertising on Google Ads, you can do like it's so easy now to do all of this stuff. Like,
call people and ask them out. If they're happy with the installation.
You gotta want to evolve. Like, you gotta want to evolve. You've gotta want like the thing. You ran a demo recently for someone who wouldn't. Kyle showed someone our product who like wouldn't even dive into the sales process. It's like, I mean, I don't know if a doomsday prepper or what, but you go and you look at the website, and the website's copyright the business 2012. 5 years. 5 years. Like, dude, like, no, like, good.
Your process is no different than anybody else.
Get out of the sales pipeline. Yeah. Like, get out of our pipeline. Like, it's even regardless, it just was not a fit. But the point is that. The transition from online to the showroom is really critical. What happens in the showroom is really critical. How the showroom looks, how you act, like, and it's not hard. It's not hard to get this.
How easy is it for me to find you?
It's not hard to get this right. Like, who do I contact if I want X? Like, if you have different like lines.
List your social media accounts on your webpage so they can find you for reviews.
Please put your people on your website, like your salespeople, not some general email.
Who am I talking to?
People want to talk to people. Stuff like that. That way, like, okay, I talk to Pete. When I go in the store, I'm going to talk to Pete. Like, all that type of thing. And it's just like, that is what's going to be critical for brick and mortar, the operations that actually want to evolve, because we know we talk to enough people that they just don't care, and it's like, that's why we have a deal loss reason, dead and don't know it.
Yeah.
Like, because that's a thing. So,
Absolutely.
and it's going to continue to be a thing. But
yeah,
I mean,
so I think
super bullish on the people who are adapting.
Absolutely,
Like,
and there's tons of people out there that are doing that.
But there's like I would say that it's like in my estimation on a good day a 75-25% split. 25% of businesses are bothering to evolve, looking in the mirror, not saying we're bad, but saying, hey,
how can we be better?
How can we? Yeah, it's not about we're doing badly. It's about okay, like we're doing well. What can we do better? It's not. It's
it's
not
the
saying,
same thing. Like my margins are 40%. Well, why can't they be 50?
Yeah, why we're selling X amount? Like what can we? It just is a matter of being able to like acknowledge the fact you can improve.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
And then leading, because there's then that's a whole other podcast. Lack of leadership in your businesses.
We'll cross that bridge maybe next time. That's a good topic.
But that said, I think it's Friday. It's 10 till 5.
10 till 5. We'll let you guys get out of here. But I think a couple takeaways that everybody can have in here is, the state of retail has evolved and changed.
Dude, it changed like a while ago. Like the change is coming. The change is like it's past.
If you haven't done it, you haven't updated your website in 5 years, if you don't have social media accounts,
if you're not evolving, you're dying.
If your technology that you're utilizing to help your people and sell essentially and service your customers, it gets in the way, or if it's 5 years old too, if you haven't evaluated your technology stack in the last year, like all of these things are your takeaways to increase your customer experience, to enhance your brand in the marketplace, to attract new consumers that are going to be taking over the industry, now and for years to come. So I definitely want to thank everybody for that peeked in and joined our webinar today. We'll be doing another one next week. We'll be sending out a blast on our social media. Follow us on Facebook at The Lead Tool. Follow us on Instagram at The Lead Tool. Check out our blog, blog.theleadtool.com. There's a lot of great content on there that is absolutely free. If anybody who is interested in a particular topic, don't hesitate to chat into us. We love hearing about that.
Definitely.
Otherwise, we'll sign off now. Enjoy your weekends, and we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you.